On the Mainly Wrestling Show, I'm a very professional Jack Milner. That's a very unprofessional Lissy Almeida. Well done, you changed the name. John Jacobs to the left. And we're joined by the incomparable Tim Gatt. You may know him as WWE on this day. Tim, I'm right thinking just the second account. Only one's been deleted so far.
Only one so far, but it's a delight to join you guys. I see your videos pop up regularly on Twitter, so I'm delighted to join you for this review of Raw. Whether I'll enjoy all of it, there's a particularly bad period of Raw, but anyway, we'll see how it goes.
Well, Tim, we were talking off there. You tell us because you've been doing Raw in 2003 as well as what 98. You've been doing a lot of the 93s. I
Oh,
think WCW Saturday nights. How does 2003 compare? It's a bad year in it for WWE.
it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
We were talking off air about competition with WWE and AEW, and I think there is a real lack of competition, and there's a bit of understandably that WWE are trying new things, doing reheats of old things, Attitude Era things, and it's not entirely working. We've got the famed Triple H title run, title run of Doom or whatever it was
I
called.
know.
Error.
Terror, thank you. It is
I know,
hard
Sean.
going, and yeah, it is. There are some great bits, some very funny bits still, and this episode coming up, uh, as we're recording today, is the 20th anniversary of Hawk's death, Road Warrior Hawk, which is marked on the show. So there are some bits to enjoy and to celebrate in this show as well.
Yeah, 20 years to the day of Mike Hegstrand passing, and as we stand, like he'd found he and Shawn Michaels kind of together found the Lord. If you watch I think you posted the video, didn't you, of the
Mm.
insider show of Shawn saying that I was there. People can laugh at it all you want, but and yeah, just sad that given like he got himself found a new marriage and was in a very happy place, and yeah, those that run in the 80s caught up with a lot of wrestlers like 20 years later.
It's scary. It's scary around as look as you've been chronicling over 2002, 2003. There's a lot who are dying. And it's hard. It's hard to watch. And it's, again, doing these accounts like you do, how do you handle them? And it's not easy, but I think mainly trying to celebrate the great things I did in life. But I thought that clip from Confidential, which
That's the one.
the 20th anniversary is, I think, next week when that aired. What was great about Confidential is its rawness and so candid about things in a way that we've not get on WWE TV today. But the
Absolutely.
way Animal was talking about fearing for the last 15 years that Hawk would be just found dead in a hotel room. And then this point, as you said, with Sean, it was looking up for him. And then obviously tragedy struck.
Yeah, it's the same we say with like Sting and Lex Luger, right? They both found um the spiritual guidance at a much later date as well. And like not the Stinger announced his like like a band doing their farewell tour for the next 12 months. AEW are probably gonna milk that for the as much as they can. But yeah, Lacey, 2003, you were just around 10 at that time, right? You and Peter was getting you still watching wrestling that time.
So I was actually tapped out of wrestling at this time. I was tired of, yeah, I was. I was tired of the invasion storyline. I remember just being like putting wrestling a little bit to the side, and then I came back the following year, and I was very happy to come back. But these, as Tim said, these couple years around the invasion storyline were very hard to watch, but there are some, good little nuggets and good little bits. And like you said, we did have a lot of loss at that time in the wrestling community as a whole. So it was tough.
Speaking of which, and this is going to be a very controversial topic. 2004, Tim, are you still going to do the anniversaries despite the fact it's a lot of celebrating Chris Benoit?
Yeah, it's really tricky. Obviously, I'm trying to remember what the anniversary was. Obviously, it was his 15th anniversary of his death last year. And I think it's important, I don't try and be high and mighty on these things. Look, I think it's important to chronicle what happens in
Yeah.
wrestling. And sometimes I do call out just terrible wrestling storylines and things like that. But that was at the time an amazing story. That that image of Eddie and Chris together in the ring with the confetti coming down is just incredibly powerful. And I think you can do it in a way that doesn't overlook the horrific nature of what he did to his wife and son, but also celebrate, celebrate the joy in wrestling. And the point of these accounts is to make, especially on Twitter now, just to make things entertaining and interesting, and to get away from the horrors we see on most of Twitter. You're trying to provide a bit of entertainment, and that's what the your account and my account is designed to do.
Yeah, and like I said, you are, I think, one of most guests kind of agree and then go AWOL last minute. And let's be honest, there's a lot of there's a lot of wrestling Twitter is a very odd place. Like Lissy was kind of, you were new to Twitter. You just didn't go on it until about 2 years ago. Then we kind of implored you to use it.
I was gone from Twitter for over 10 years. So
Really?
I really never got into it. Obviously I had an account. I dabbled on there a little bit. But then obviously when we started working together on the podcast a couple of years ago, I was like, oh, I have to get back on there. But I mean, I am enjoying it. I think that, like you guys said, like you can't please everybody, right? So there's a lot of comments and there's a lot of stuff like that. But on the token, with somebody like a Chris Benoit, right? Next year, I think, if I'm not mistaken correctly, is going to be the 20 years anniversary since Randy Orton beat Benoit for the belt. And I'm a big Randy Orton fan, so I'm kind of being selfish.
Yeah.
Like these things happened, so you can't just not report it because he was involved. It's like you said, like these things happen. You're not making him look better than he was. Those things did happen. People lost their lives. It's tragic, but you do have to tell the story. And I think that's, you guys take a great responsibility in doing that.
And it was in Canada as well. And Randy was getting cheered like he was the super hot baby face. And Benoit's the veteran. He's in his home. I think it was Toronto. You expect Benoit to get cheered and Randy to get booed. He's part of Evolution. And I'm pretty sure it's the next night, right? They do the and Triple H buries him, wins the title in 4 weeks. Because Lissy, that's how it's done. Lissy does not like I don't like Triple H or Shawn Michaels, so I'll
He hates them.
They monopolized everything, haven't they? Wankers.
It's hard. It's some good bits. I mean, again, because I'm kind of jumping around from more milestone moments. So, really nice bits of 5 years ago, a couple of days ago, Triple H telling Mia Yim.
That was nice.
Please sign Mia. And he does that, and it's captured. Again, of course, cameras are there for that moment. But there are some good bits. And I think it's kind of trying to filter out. This isn't, historical records of what we do. We don't chronicle every main event and every match because there's so much dross that, again, nowadays, even in peak Attitude Era, it's some terrible stuff. We're just picking out the bits that are interesting or memorable. But it is hard during this point with Triple H, and looking at the way Goldberg has been handled in terms of his booking. It's just quite, you look back and think, what if?
I'm thinking, is it around this time? Did they have the Elimination Chamber the month before? And this is the era when Trips and Steph were trying for a baby, right? So he's off all the juice. His body's not one to body shame. If you go back to the Triple H of 2002 when he's come back from the Rumble, right? He's jacked. He's wearing like the biker shorts, not the Hoochie Mama shorts, not the Hoochie Daddy shorts, the biker shorts. He's kind of hide a bit more, and he just looks sluggish and lethargic. And I'm sure Goldberg beats everyone up. Triple H comes in with the sledgehammer, crawls over in 20 seconds, pins him, and the crowd are like, really? So they panic and just put the belt on him the month after. Very strange.
I think you just take some solace in the fact that now when WWE do take a star from the other side, they actually seem to be treating them in the right way. Not, we got one from the other side, guys, let's bury them, like you see the way they've handled Cody, you see the way it looks like they're going to be handling Jade. And again, that's only good for everyone, right? If they do things the right way.
Jade is in like 3 weeks have been made to look like an absolute bona fide superstar. It was one-on-one, we talk. She getting courted by every general manager. as stand up with Charlotte Flair. I know exactly who you are. She's done nothing yet just by standing around in fur coats. It's genius.
Well, this is the thing. This is just what you can do when you've got that WWE machine, and I just think they do it so well, right? She's not done anything. She's just been seen on screen a couple of times, and people go, "She's a superstar," right? But then you go, "Well, AEW wasted her." Well, what did they do when she came in? They put with Cody Rhodes. They brought in like one of the biggest sports stars in history to have her opening match with. They give her a 60-something match undefeated streak, and people go, "AEW just wasted her. Look what's happening over on WWE." Just showing up on screen a couple of times, but it's just something that WWE do, right? They just have that inherent, almost kind of star quality there, and it's not necessarily what they're doing, but it's like how they do it.
You say that, JJ, but I'm pretty sure if we go and watch this show now, there'll be examples of that not necessarily always being the case. So if you're going to watch with us on the network, some of us still don't have to endure the peacock. network.wwe.com/video/67499. We'll stick it in the comments. Let's say if you're on the cock, where do you go?
You're sad like me. You go to Monday Night Raw, season 11, episode 43, October 27, 2003.
Skip 5 minutes in because...
Hold on, Lissy. It's October 20th, 2003. Have you got the right one?
Oh, fucking hell. I did it again. Okay, so no. Quick story. Do you guys remember the time that like you guys were watching something and we were like 10 minutes into the episode? I'm like, guys, I don't know where you are. And this has happened multiple times. Okay, I'm here.
No. For that other one, you pretended like you kept talking along, saying, "No, yeah, that's really good." Are you even watching this? No, I dip in and out. Like,
you sold it well.
Okay.
October 20, 2003.
Gotta fake it till you make it, guys.
This is going to be great for the old Babes of Wrestling Facebook page. They'll lap this up. Right, you ready?
Ready.
Skip to 5:20. Click play in 3, 2, 1. And I can't believe Test is about to come out, presumably, and do something with Stone Cold. How is Test anywhere near the main event at this point?
Test was a big deal at this time, if you remember. Don't you remember like the little angle with like Test and Stacy Keibler and Scott Steiner where like they're like fighting for Stacy's love or her managerial, I don't remember what it was. Like Test was around. Remember Test was supposed to marry Stephanie McMahon, so like
of course.
Yeah, that was 19, that was 4 years before.
It doesn't matter. He was still around.
This storyline feels like it's dragged on for months and months.
When did this start kind of? I got the camera bulb, so when Stacey does the
Have to.
She got legs. when did Scott Stearns look at Stone Cold?
Well, last week Stone Cold gave Stacey a stunner for not drinking a beer.
Isn't he still a babyface here? He's the good guy general manager, right?
Yeah,
because you see in the opening credits they show Bischoff, the crowd boo horrendously, and then they show Austin and they cheer. So he's definitely still very much a face.
Did they have like they have a drink off, right? They have a drinking contest and they do the like challenges, right? As in my head, Eric Bischoff came back in late 02, early 03, and then he was general manager to 05. So I don't know why Austin's here.
It's just around.
Lissy, Stacey's outfit never happened today, right?
This is
no.
Some of the best music.
I think it could happen today. It's not. Her outfit's not that scandalous.
It's a bit schoolgirly.
It's definitely schoolgirly. Sans the little tights. I think that could happen today. 100%.
I refuse to see the change in
me.
One day wake up.
John, what's going on with you?
I was singing the theme music.
JJ, what time are you on?
Where are you, John?
2:12, 13.
Can we just skip? Can we just skip to 11 minutes? Because I've got no interest in listening to these knobheads talk.
I'm crying. John,
let's see. What's your favorite Test promo?
None.
Exactly. You can't say anything bad. He's dead.
Where should we be in the time?
11 minutes and 12, 13, 14, okay. 15. Austin's retired here and everyone's terrified of him. Like, Test is 6'5", right? I suppose he's injured.
It's Stone Cold.
He can't be he can't be chugging beers in the opening segment, surely.
Don't call him do what he wants.
Oh, that's true.
This is Test's worst look in terms of hair. Way
It's-
better with the long hair.
It's a bit boy bandy, right?
I liked him with the ponytail, and then I liked him when he came back in the WWE's version of ECW. He was jacked at that
I
time.
forgot about that. Yeah.
But then, I mean, unfortunately, he passed away not that long after.
Thoughts and prayers.
Did you just cross yourself?
I've had my very religious mother-in-law here for the past week. You get into habits.
I'm gonna call Marion. I'm gonna be like, "You're rubbing off on Jack. We're almost there."
Jeez, no, I mean, bringing a sinner home for Christmas is disgraceful.
Jack is gonna be in the rites for Christian initiation class next year if we keep this up, guys.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing about marriage, right? I'd have to go through the baptizing stuff. Ugh. It's just,
it's not that bad.
I'm not a religious person. So it'd just be like I'm lying to myself.
Okay, we're recording this. Just remember.
Nobody listens at this point. It's 5 minutes in. They're looking to see if we've actually got a real witch join us. No, they cancelled again. Oh, fine, never mind. So yeah, Tim. Apart from your good self, we've had one guest on before. That was Lizzie Evo, who's a very good independent wrestler. She was there at the Progress show when I was on the Saturday of All In, and very good. That girl has got a massive future. But apart from that, every other person or guest has cancelled on us pretty much last minute.
There's only been like 3 or 4 others that we've invited on, right?
Oh wow! Wow, Jericho's arms are huge. There was 2 witches. There was the OnlyFans girl. DJ.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, let's see. Are you about to do a chemistry experiment? What's this?
What is the matter with you? Just keep going.
I need things to clip up. This is like the most unlikeliest tag team of all time.
I'm sorry, where are you?
Jericho and Steiner are in Bishop's
13,
office.
57, 58, 59, 14.
Why am I so far behind you guys? I'm so confused.
Scott Steiner. I don't think you realize Scott Steiner's got 69 and he's tights as well. What a man. Living the gimmick. What did you find us in the week? Was it Scott Steiner? It was the Hoochie Daddy shots, right? Shout out to my freaks.
No. He said something about when Big Papa Pump is in town, I call all my hoochies. Like, that is such an early 2000s word. Like, hoochies? I'm going to bring that back.
Oh, nice catch, Stacey.
Don't steal another man's beer. Austin actually looks older here now than 20 years later. He was struggling. I think he...
You fucked up.
Austin's seen a lot of like perverted faces here. Like, so is he recently divorced around this time? So I mean,
this is when he had divorced. He and Deborah had divorced, right?
Yeah, and he said like he still, so he'd retired in WrestleMania 19, just 7 months earlier. But he said he hadn't got it out of his system yet. He was still trying to cling on, but he was on the road still, just going around drinking every night.
Yeah. I mean, but realistically, guys, he was a relatively young man here. He's about 40. So
34, 35, yeah.
What? Here? He wasn't 35.
He's not 60 now, is he? This was 20 years ago.
Yeah, brother, go look it up. I think Stone Cold's born in the earlier 60s. So I think he was probably around 40 here.
Stone Cold he's 58. Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
There you go.
So we're both wrong.
Okay, we'll meet in the middle. No
There's a guy called I don't want to say anything really politically incorrect. There's a comedian called Brad Williams he's about 4 foot. I don't know the name because I don't want to get in trouble.
A little person.
A little person. He sometimes makes hornswoggle jokes himself, so he's okay with it. Anyway, he messaged me saying, my missus is a big Golden Girls fan. Do you want to send me one of those shirts? And he went on the Dan Labard show yesterday wearing the Ric Flair Golden Girls shirt.
Beautiful.
To be fair, and he went
I
and booked it
saw.
himself. If anyone wants it, you buy it. And I've sold 2 tonight, so fair play to Brad. That's the
very
show,
cool.
JJ. That's the show that Tony Khan went on last week and kind of embarrassed himself.
Oh, I didn't even see anything about
Oh,
this. How did he
Really?
embarrass himself? Yeah, honestly.
Because there's 3 guys there, and they let him plug the show, or whatever. And he goes, anyway, what happened? Come on, tell us what happened behind the stage at Wembley. Did you really fear for your life? Well, it was a really. I'd rather not talk about it, but we've got AEW Title Tuesday and TBS. And the guy goes, no, I've let you plug your show for 5 minutes. Give me some of the good shit, Tony. And yeah, I get it. You're a promoter, blah blah blah. You can't just ignore our question and start promoting. What the fuck happened there? And he looks stunned.
Well, we're on a great run of shows, and I think it's the best run of shows that we've had recently. Right now, the fans are loving it. We got big crowds.
Thanks, Dan. That's a great question. The AEW Title Tuesday. Oh my god! And the guy who actually pulls him up said, "Did you really fear for your life?" In that moment, I did. And one of them kind of has to hide the fact they're laughing.
I'm looking at the Dudley Boys watching La Resistance come in, and you can just see they're thinking, we are going to go heavy on these boys tonight.
Tim, fill us in on La Resistance, because I know it's Sylvain Grenier, right?
Yes, it's Sylvain Grenier and it's Rob Conway, because I think I can't remember which one is out injured at the moment. But you can see, if you're watching on the video feed, you can see that Billy Ray's got, or Bubba Ray, I should say, there's got a Hawk armband on, obviously,
I
because
noticed that. That's a nice touch. And he goes and busted open and says, hands down, Road Warriors greatest tag team of all time, without question.
Yeah,
it's a nice tribute. By the way, if you ever go on WWE on this day, add a couple of underscores. I do love the way Tim will quote either Bruce Pritchard or Jim Ross going back and discussing it on latest episodes of, somebody's wrestle or Grilling JR and filling in the blanks that, behind the scenes coming. So like Rob Conway, I find it interesting. JR saying, great guy, good worker, just he seemed to rub the wrong people. He rubbed the wrong people up. Wrong people up the wrong way. How would you say it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But he goes, he didn't have a word. He didn't have a bad word to say about him. Just lumbered with a bad gimmick.
But there's, history is littered with good wrestlers who just don't make it. And JR was incredibly positive about Rob Conway,
wasn't he?
But even looking back here now, he didn't have it to become a star.
Well, I think when we think of somebody like Vince, right? Vince has a type. And physically, Rob Conway is Vince's type, right? He's tall, he's a good-looking guy, he's muscular, but realistically, we know that to make it, like you said, Tim, like you have to have charisma. You have to have that connection with the fans. Whether you're a heel or you're a babyface, you have to have that connection with the fans. Otherwise, they're not gonna get behind you.
Can I just ask, what is that thing that Sylvain Grenier just did?
Little skip.
Oh, you don't remember?
I've never seen. So I stopped watching around later after the, like a lot of people, right, after the Invasion stuff and Survivor Series. I tuned out to Low 6. When I went to university in 06, I sold off a load of my old videos. But in the process, I got back into wrestling again. I'll watch this before I sell it again. And I stumbled upon Ring of Honor, and then I was hooked for another 3 years. So I went back and bought the books. I think it was Wrestle Crab. Somebody wrote Death WCW, right, with Brian Alvarez. I remember just thinking this 03, 04, 05 just sounds like the most bizarre. Any other company would have finished in that time.
Yeah.
And WWE somehow carried on and still made money and still profitable.
Because they cleared out all the competition, haven't they?
Yeah.
It's like going around the Monopoly board and still being able to, dodge every house or whatever and still end up profiting. It's meant how bad the product was.
Yeah,
in this 3 years.
Around this time when I was literally just flipping through the channels. Remember back in the day, you could flip through the channels. You can't even do that anymore. I don't even think there was a I don't even think that's an option on the remote anymore. But I saw TNA at the time. They were called TNA at the time, Impact now. And I was so excited because I was like, new wrestling. Because it was a little dry, during certain parts of this. It was a little dry. So it was nice to, and even then, even if it's not dry, sometimes it's just nice to have another product to watch because you don't want to watch the same stuff all the time. So yeah.
I remember finding them on the wrestling channel in the UK. And the thing that hooked me was like, that ring's got 6 sides. And I know people shit on them for that. They're like, oh, it was so rinky dink. Like they even had a 6-sided ring. But genuinely, when you were flicking through the channels, it stopped you in your tracks for a second because you were like, what's going on here? And only takes a few seconds and you're in, right?
Yeah, 100%. And
Tim,
then TNA was great for a lot of years. So I still fondly remember like the golden era of TNA before Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff ran it into the ground.
Yeah.
I have been to 3 wrestling shows in my life. One is wrestling at the Huddersfield Town Hall in around 2000. One of the worst afternoons of my entire life. And nothing had made me more depressed.
You loved it. Stop it.
No, I didn't, because I thought I was.
You loved that fake cane that they brought out. You loved all of whatever was happening there. I know
It was more when you kind of suspected this. Yeah, I know it's not real, right? And I know blah blah blah. And then you go to the show and you went, oh my God, what am I? That was the first moment you question, what am I doing in my life? I need to get a better hobby. This is like, I'm embarrassed for myself being here. The second was a TNA house show in Liverpool in 2008, which was brilliant.
How did you get there?
Train.
You guys.
I don't know I know America might be different, but infrastructure wise, we're not too bad over here, especially in the north.
We just don't take the train here. Like it's so sad the way that we live. Like you guys are living in the future.
Whoa. Our trains are horrendous.
I know, but they're accessible and it's socially acceptable for people to take the train.
Because we drink on trains. A lot of people, so on a Saturday's list, everyone goes to go watch the football.
Yeah.
The away day is basically on the train at 10, 11 o'clock for 4 cans. Shrewsbury. Let's go. It's fucking out.
Here we go. Here's a nice tribute.
Oh, they did Doomsday Device.
I love this.
Nice.
Right. Oh, and he laid them flat as well. That means they're very soft on them.
Do you know how many cousins we did this move to? No one went to hospital either, so I don't think we were, doing anything terrible, but what a time.
You know what? Those were nice tag belts as well.
These were some of the better looking belts, not like those things they have now. I'm not a fan of those belts. They're those Spartan looking silver belts. I don't enjoy them.
There's still loads of signs as well, even in this time period.
Well, yeah, because technology hadn't taken over yet. People weren't obsessed. Because at this time, I think like the first camera phones were just coming out and they were like 1 megapixel. So people weren't taking pictures and being like obsessed with their phones yet. These were the dying days of civilization, and now we're here.
Goldberg was champ at this time. Wow.
Look at him.
I always think I know my shit with certain years. WWE 2003. No, nothing.
That's why we've got Tim here.
Bliss, believe me.
Exactly, yeah.
If you give Jack like a year from the 1980s, like he'll just go, oh yeah, this guy was feuding with this guy, this girl held the championship from January until April, and then this guy won it at this event and he'd held it until the next year. He's like, do that any year in the 1980s, it's unreal.
87
2003
Jim Crockett Promotions, like 86, 87, 88 was just cooking on a different level. We're reaching the point now in 88 where, man, this is the bit. This ain't good. I think the Road Warriors turn heel next week. Arn and Tully have gone. There's a lot of staleness coming in. Al Perez has been brought in as like the turn Ron Garvin. It's Dusty's trying anything to try and cling on at this point, and he gets sacked in 6 weeks.
Please don't make us. Please.
So Scott Steiner and Chris Jericho are trying to get the bounty on. Oh no, I'm a bit lost.
Oh, the cat.
What are Scott Steiner and Jericho doing here?
I don't know. How young does Randy Orton look here, by the way?
Okay.
I fell in love with this Randy Orton. So handsome.
So
Yeah.
Tim posted a video last week of Ric Flair chewing Maven out, which is brilliant. And Flair says to Maven, "I've had more world championships than you've had women. I'll see you in the ring next week."
Brilliant line.
So what do you guys think about Maven? Because I've been watching a few of his episodes on YouTube where he kind of gives his perspective on some of the things that happened to him in the business. Like I've seen a couple episodes where he talks about like, oh, how much money I made, how this worked in the locker room, et cetera, et cetera. Like what did you guys think of him? And maybe I'll ask Tim just because Jack, I know you were outside of wrestling at that time.
I get a beer.
Okay. But like, do you think that he didn't live up to his potential?
Who, Orton or
Maven.
No,
Maven? Oh, Maven.
And
Again, just someone
Orton?
who didn't really have much character to him. I mean,
yeah,
he didn't. They tried to push him,
they really
both
did.
with him and Lance Cade and Garrison Cade, as he was called at this point, and also I forgot his name now. Another
His
WCW
partner?
guy, and it's just terrible. You can tell they've got not got enough character for it.
I
And
feel
it's
like
great to see now that he's got a great YouTube channel, and he's he's clearly found a niche for candid opinion.
Yeah.
I've not watched any of it yet. I've not had a chance to, but
No, right.
good for him.
I feel like Maven like just never had a chance because he came in through Tough Enough, right? He was the first winner of the first Tough Enough. And I think the way the locker room was back then, it was like, you've got to pay your dues, right? And he never really did that. He just basically won a competition as they saw it to become a WWE superstar and get this contract. And I think he was never going to have the respect of the locker room. And we saw the same with Daniel Puder, right? Another one that came through Tough Enough, and the way that he was treated in that Royal Rumble after his match with Kurt Angle. I just think the way that things were back then, I think they were always going to find it tough. Yeah.
That was different because he tried to literally break Kurt Angle's, was it his arm or his leg on that challenge? He was trying to, he worked himself into a shoe, as the brothers say, right? And Kurt is bad. I could rip your head off right now. But Kurt was pro. I am gonna keep calm and just So he needs his days with numbers up after that. That bit's brilliant, by the way. It's Hardcore Holly, right? I think it's Benoit. Is it Benoit and Guerrero going at it, and then he comes out, and they kind of just offer him to Hardcore Holly as a lamb to the slaughter.
Well, because I mean, Hardcore Holly, I love him. He had that reputation, right? Where he was like, I don't care, like I'll put the boots to anybody. So
Sure.
he was the right one.
You look at that SmackDown locker room, say what, 04 or 05, Undertaker, Benoit, Guerrero, Mysterio, Chavo Guerrero, and Brock's. Brock's probably the exception, but when you get to then 05 or 06, you got Bradshaw and Booker. I think Batista comes across. All these guys are like in their late 30s, early 40s, they've been 15, 20 years. And someone like The Miz comes in.
Yeah, another one that came through Tough Enough, right? Got a lot of shit backstage, like wasn't allowed to change with the boys, but was one of the ones that put up with the shit and ended up carving out a space for himself in the WWE. But
Miz is probably the best example of that reality TV type of person. But I think Miz just has such a great personality, and he has been able to identify with the fans as well as just kind of transcend his career, right? He's been around for 20 years now almost. But I think he did that because it's him. I don't think that it's easy to do. I think today, like you guys were saying, like that locker room 20 years ago was almost unbearable, right? Whereas now I think things are a little bit softer. And I think that's probably would be an easier approach.
Say that word in your Boston accent.
What?
Softer.
Softer.
Disappointing.
Give
us a time check.
I'm at 31-22. Booker T's just finished the Spinaroonie.
Okay, good.
Iconic.
like a proper heel. I don't need this. I don't mind losing by count out.
I really thought that Taker
Where's
was
Jim
going to
Cornette?
invite
Lazy
Booker
booking.
T into the ring for a spinneroonie after NXT.
I always loved a good wrestling in dress pants moment. Yeah.
Well, he's been mentored by the Nature Boys. I mean, how many times did the Nature take an ass whooping in his slacks?
Have to.
But this was, I loved Randy's old theme and entrance as well. This is the old
Banger.
Hey, what? Trying to look at pissed in the crowd. Yeah, Tim, go back to WrestleMania because you did all the build up to Booker versus Triple H. What was that experience like? Reliving the what you indiscriminate racism? Bruce Pritchard always says it wasn't racist. When he said like people like you can't be world champion, he meant
there's too many examples over several weeks that it wasn't, and you can see the story they're trying to play, and it would have been forgiven and forgotten were it for Booker T to have won at WrestleMania. And now look, he's been away, he's just come back, and I think it was last week's episode, but he's not got the aura he had, and it took him another 4 years or so to be taken seriously as winning the championship.
Yeah, I want to say he became King Booker. Did win the King of the Ring in maybe 06, and then I think beat Batista off sort of around that time, right? 06 or 07.
I feel like this was a lot of the problem in this like post-invasion era, is that they didn't get all of the stars that they wanted to get from WCW, but they did get some that they could have done something with. But I feel like so many of them just got completely buried. When you think of the likes of Booker T and the spots that they ended up getting put in when they came over to WWE, because you've already got a bit of a noose around your neck when you're coming from WCW to WWF, WWE, because the fans that are WWE fans weren't WCW fans and vice versa, right? And so WCW fans didn't want to watch WWE because a lot of their big stars weren't there. And the guys that were watching WWE didn't care about these cast-offs essentially from WCW, which was the show that they never wanted to watch anyway. So they had to do something better with them if they wanted to give them a chance, really. And a lot of them just, I don't think, got the chance.
But they said that it was the show they didn't want to be watching because the WWF had constantly said WCW is the shit. Anyone who wrestles over there, they're old or they're over the hill or they're not as good as people from here. So when you bring them over, why would you cheer for these guys?
Right.
You know, buff
and then when you make them look like jobbers, and then it just compounds the issue.
Yeah, DDP was probably the worst example.
Just
got fed to the Undertaker, right?
Talker.
DDP 97, 98 was the equivalent of The Rock, right? He was so over.
I love this. Oh,
not Mark Henry.
Mark Henry, you could have finished the job, brother. Oh.
What's happened here? I thought Mark Henry was on Small.
He's going for the bounty, right? Triple H put the 100K bounty on Goldberg's head.
Teddy Long. Again, Teddy Long is brilliant.
We watched last week an episode of World Championship Wrestling from 1986. Teddy Long looks younger here. 17 years later than he did then.
It's because at that point, Teddy Long was still trying to cling on to the little bit of hair he had at the back, whereas when he just shaved it clean, much better look.
As a man,
I feel attacked.
Tim,
wow.
Tim, you look to have a beautiful head of hair on you. So
they kind.
To this, John has wonderful hair. Others, they're working on it. But like, you look so much better when you just bite the bullet and just shave it.
The amount of jobs I've helped this girl get, and this is how she treats me. Wow, this is.
She's giving you advice. It's solid advice,
No, but you know what though, Jack? No, I'm just kidding, Jack. Like your hair, there's actually nothing wrong with the way that you.
Listen, do you know we have an expression on this thing that was saying, just put the shovel down. Yeah, just stop digging.
No, I'm
stop
serious.
digging.
No, your hair. There's nothing wrong with your hair because you're not trying to grow it long to make it look like you have more than you have. Like you're no. What?
Wow.
There's nothing wrong with your hair because you don't have any, is what she's saying.
That's what I'm hearing, yeah. You're not trying to pretend like you do.
No, but you keep it low cut, like you wear it well. There's nothing wrong with your hair.
If you did the Teddy Long and tried to get a ponytail at the back, then you'd have a problem.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you were doing what's that thing, like the comb over where they like roll the sides like long and they just like this, if you were doing that, we
Like the
would be
Don
talking.
Callis from 2 years. You know, Don Callis has shaved it completely and gone for the tinted shades, right? I'll have to try that.
Oh, go
Get the
for it.
pink
Break
suit.
down the walls.
I hate that suit so much.
Yeah, we're watching. I must have clipped up Kenny Omega versus Danielson, right, from the original Arthur Ashe. What's it called, Grand Slam?
Mhm.
And you're laying into Don Callis going, fucking wears that suit every week.
He
Piece,
does.
canny piece of shit. Yeah. That's his gimmick.
Yeah, that's the character, right? Like he has nothing.
He
He
can't
just clings
afford
on
more
to
than
other
one
people. Question: what's better, Chris Jericho music, "Break the Walls Down" or Judas?
Break the walls down.
Break the
Okay.
walls down. Absolutely. Like Judas is fun to
Who's that hitting a woman?
it doesn't matter. We used to hit women back then.
Who is that?
Oh, sus Stevie Richards.
Oh, wow.
Are you-
Oh, he's got walloped. Oh, someone else got pushed down. It's a lot of male on female violence here.
Yeah,
This was the
it's a
time.
very uncomfortable time. You had obviously No Mercy 20 years ago. Tonight you had Stephanie being choked out by Vince. It's very awkward, and
Yeah.
That was weird. Like just the fact that Vince was okay doing some of these storylines with his daughter. Like I know we always talk about the ones that
He wanted to do much worse storylines with the daughter. Yeah.
but it's just it's like cringe. Like it's very uncomfortable to watch. Especially knowing now what we know.
Yeah. Especially knowing what kind of a creep he is now. Yeah.
Well, I think she came out on is that a Confidential or another show? And she goes, I've only ever said no to two things my asked in story. And one of them was when I was pregnant and he suggested it'd be me. And then when I said no, he suggested it'd be Shane. And I'm thinking,
Still no, Dad.
What's the other one?
Can't get worse than that. Like
Can
I
it?
hope. Don't want to know.
very strange man.
Very.
Yeah. But yeah, in
Understatement,
2003, right? Vince was just wilding on SmackDown. Did I use that term right? Wilding?
You're so cute.
Say less. Oh my God! Why? What's Lance Storm doing?
So what level?
This is what I am saying.
Yes. It's so uncomfortable and goofy. Like
You've got fucking Lance Storm, who's one of the best technical wrestlers.
Yes. Sorry, John. Sorry.
No, I'm agreeing. But this is what I was saying earlier about how they treated these WCW guys, right? You're not playing to their strengths at all. You're just trying to make them look as dumb as possible on national TV for Vince's own hilarity, I feel like.
And then you had him paired up with Mr. Midlife Crisis.
Wow. RVD.
No, I love RVD. What are you talking about? I'm talking about Scott Steiner was in a midlife crisis at this time. No one can convince me otherwise.
Was he?
His last
So
with the hoochies and his like all the crazy stuff that he was doing.
That was exactly the same stuff he did in 2099.
That's what I'm saying. This is a continuation of that, brother.
They've turned Lance Storm into a 1985 white meat babyface. He quoted, I think, one of Tim's last week, and he said, I hated this so much. I said I was uncomfortable doing it, and they told me to go out there and just go out and dance. And I hated every single second of it. And Vince loved it.
Of course.
that's what I mean. Vince is just doing stuff so he can have a laughing gorilla position, right?
Oh, good Lord.
What percentage chance do you guys give Scott Steiner of winning here?
166.67.
Okay. Seems reasonable. Do
Just
you want to show you're working or
Well, he's 2/3. Jericho's 2/3 the man Scott Steiner is.
he's
And
gonna
Scott
do
Steiner
it as well.
can't lose. Lance Storm, when he's happy and smiling. Oh, little Nate as well. Going for the Flair 91 look. So yeah, 166.7.
Seems accurate.
What does a 69 mean on his pants?
He's rounded up.
Right, okay.
Are you kidding me?
A bit like how you're punching up, or
No comment.
I can't.
thinking back, Jack, because you shared a clip from 2002 of the RVD promo against Triple H, and just
Oh
Yeah, that
yeah.
opportunity to give him that big push.
I'm really angry. You that's a good you do it so well. Well, Rob, some of us take this business seriously. Some of us just don't have it. Thinking, didn't just somebody give you a belt like 3 weeks earlier? And RVD was so hot in 2001. Like the WWE crowd, considering their condition to hate anyone coming in, they were all over. RVD and Jeff Hardy in 2001 were probably the two biggest in terms of over. And yeah, both got treated like shit, right? Jeff Hardy was out the company 18 months, and RVD was in the mid card.
Oh, Jeff.
Yeah, well, Jeff
Was
had
Jeff
his own
Hardy wrestling
problems.
last night? Was he on Dynamite? I saw he was trending again on Twitter, but
Dance
Uh,
like Lance Storm.
no. He
I
might have been
can't,
on
I don't think he was.
I can't unsee this.
Rampage.
It hurts.
He might have been on Rampage. I don't know. Obviously, haven't watched that yet. Do you know, since they announced Sin Cara and he was only going to be on Rampage, they sold like an extra 2,000 tickets to that show
Yeah.
last night.
Mystico JJ.
You know what I mean?
He's a legend in Mexico. It's like bringing back. I was going to say bringing back the nature in the Carolinas.
No,
Maybe
but they
not.
weren't in Mexico. If it was in Mexico, I'd understand, right? But
Houston's got a huge Hispanic, or like
fair, yeah. Fair point. Fair point.
Tell us, Jack, about Houston.
fuck off.
Tell us who lives there.
Like Bruce Pritchard's like really good fans with the Guerrero family, right? And what next door to El Paso? I know you're taking the piss. So I'll stop. I'll be quiet. But Hispanic wrestlers have always done well. Look at Jose Lothario, right?
You mean Mexican?
Doing the guy Hispanic. Jose Lothario, who got treated like shit by Shawn Michaels after he resented the fact that an old man was there next to him.
Why? I just don't understand this. So, Tim,
Yeah.
before I go off,
Right.
do you like Shawn Michaels, or are you like indifferent? Like, how do you feel?
I go through different feelings. I've just got through in 2008 his amazing feud with Chris Jericho, which is just extraordinary. Just watching Jericho now, he's saving basically this Raw at the moment.
Yeah.
And the way he's just, putting everything into it. And you just look back and think just how amazing he is. But the Shawn Michaels, yeah, at the moment it can be hard. And, he says he's a changed man, but we see flashes of the old Shawn, obviously the infamous like of that anti-Stephanie tweet, supposedly from his account, or not done by him, or some accident.
Wait,
or whatever.
are they getting a divorce?
Where the rumors are, but it's just, I think it's tricky. He is incredible, but he will never be. When you talk about, who's on your Mount Rushmore, it's hard to put him on there, and I think it's hard. I'm trying to think why. Was it those
He was
missed years
for so long.
He never got that chance after this title run in 2002 to hold the title again. He wasn't interested in it.
This
You
is why
feel like
you
it could have made a
brought him here,
difference.
Jack. This is why you brought him here. You
I
need,
don't know. I don't know Tim's preferences. I don't know who he likes. I don't know his
needed an
favorites.
ally. You needed an ally in your anti-Shawn Michaels campaign.
Do you know what? I
And
find it quite common across British people seem to have a very
why?
because we like people to have a certain, I don't know, it's like I even say like moral standing. Just don't. I think the best phrase for it is just don't take the piss.
He's
Shawn-
sorry about it.
But so if you act like a dick and then sorry about it, yeah.
Are you still upset about the FTR thing?
Listen,
I never watched that.
You should watch the David Beckham documentary on Netflix and look at how long the British people held a grudge against a 23-year-old man for flicking a tiny little foot at Diego Simeone, and you might understand.
Simeone was great in that as well. Was it a red card? Absolutely not.
This is I give up, guys. I just come on here. I want to protect Shawn as much as I can, but I'm outnumbered today. So
I mean, bring your dad in if you want to. If you want to do that, get a real straw poll. I mean, he said
What?
himself. Peter, Brett or Sean? Oh, both very good.
Don't ask Peter. I knew you were gonna ask him that. Okay. I'm surprised he didn't go off on like this room used to be her room when she was little, and she used to have a Shawn Michael all over the wall.
A
Oh
Shawn
my
Michael, not Shawn
Yeah. Oh,
Michaels.
never the S at the end. Shawn Michael.
Hear him talk, I was like, yeah, the impressions are pretty good.
He's been my dad for my whole life, so and his
Has he?
English,
For 30 years, yeah.
and his English has not improved. So trust me.
Why would I improve? I have kids, they can speak better English.
He's like, oh no, my daughter, she will do it. Don't worry. He doesn't have to.
If you've been watching this match, by the way, Lance Storm will do a move and then just start dancing. Like what?
Yeah, it's really cringe. Like
What is that?
It's not even like this dance.
1, 2.
This dance wasn't even relevant in 2003.
Yeah, it's like a
Poor guy's
Friends
just doing what he's
ripoff.
been told to do, you know.
Yeah, I know, but I suppose you can't really. Where are you going to go and wrestle, right? You can't really turn it
literally.
down. But you could at least maybe feel. The weird thing is, these two were broken the business together, right? Thrill Seekers, ECW.
Right.
Oh, in Smoky Mountain, sorry.
What athleticism from Storm.
One of my favorite matches of all time is Storm against Danielson at Ring of Honor Better Than Our Best. Like April 1st, 2006, WrestleMania weekend. I bought that DVD and I just couldn't believe this is the Lance Storm I'd watched on, because I came through, the Russo era on WCW, where I think Lance Storm did he have 3 titles at one point, which was he changed the cruiserweight title to the Saskatchewan 85 kilos, and another one was like a Stampede heavyweight champ, whatever. But they made him like a bit of a dick. And then he went out there and wrestled Danielson for half an hour. But I mean, that's Bryan Danielson.
Tough to have a bad match there, isn't it?
That's the one regret about Wembley, right? I just wanted to see Dragon. And they were saying TK bought the final countdown for 2 players. If Dragon hadn't got injured, it would have been him in that Wembley. Like, oh my God.
Oh, banger.
You got to hear cult of personality. I bet you never thought that would happen again.
Sounds really sad. 2 times when I'm watching something live, going, I can't believe them. The first time I got to see Noel Gallagher live, which was at Benicassim Festival in 2015. Just so happy. And then watching Punk Joe at Wembley, like, oh my God, this is. I can't put into words how happy that I am right now.
I can't wait to never hear Cult of Personality again. Just FYI. In case anyone.
Just the amount of times I screamed during that 20. It was like 20-minute match.
Yeah.
Fucking phenomenal.
He was screaming like a girl.
It was a great match.
Only
3.5 stars, but
only
brilliant match.
Fucking
no,
Osprey.
it was a great match. And
Osprey Jericho 4 3/4. Are you actually shitting me? Like, come on.
It's Osprey. He can't physically give Osprey less than 4 3/4 for a singles match. He's not allowed.
These ratings are not real.
That's a nice touch. That
it's just one man's opinion, right? It's not, for some reason he's like the person everyone listens to, but at the end of the day, it's just one man's opinion, right? He's just ranking the wrestling that he likes.
I mean, he's wrong.
Well, it's not right, or there's no right or wrong when it's opinion, right? Like some people like AEW, some people like WWE, some people like New Japan. Like there's no right or wrong. It's a preference.
Art is subjective. There are people out here that really enjoyed this episode of WWE Raw from 2003, and that's fine.
God isn't one of them. It's weird to look at Jericho. Like, Jericho looks pretty similar face-wise.
I hate you because get out my head. I know where you're going.
The hair's a little bit.
Finish your statement.
But he's just, it's the dad bod now, right? This is the before and after
I
three
mean, but he
kids.
goes through phases because there has been times in the last 18 months where he's looked in really good shape. And then there's obviously, but he's in his 50s, right? I imagine I've never been in shape, but I imagine if you were in shape by the time you get to your 50s, it's a lot harder to stay in shape.
How is the weight loss challenge going, JJ?
It's all right. I've lost some weight. Not as much as I wanted to.
I think too, it's like I know we try to stay away from the body shaming. Wow, there's a lot going on between Eric Bischoff and Goldberg. It's like
A little bit sexy.
I've got it on mute. What did he say?
Very close to his mouth. Anyway, I know we try to stay away from the whole body shaming thing. It's just that it's that balance between should you start wrestling with a shirt on type of thing. I think that's what you're talking about, Jack, right?
No, I think Jericho should pack. I mean, if I'm watching AEW, which I don't, again, I cancelled my Fight for subscription last month. Can't do the Punk and dirty like that. What the fuck is going on out there? We've had flash floods tonight, Lissy, so
yeah, it's
people
been crazy.
Putting up sand, but yeah. If Jericho comes on the TV, I skip past. I've done watch any of the tag stuff with Kenny, or I've gone onto YouTube and watched bits. My interest in AEW has literally never been lower, which is really sad because I was so excited when it started and persevered with it.
They're gonna bounce back. They're gonna bounce back, guys.
I don't see how.
This is their tribute to.
Oh, Stu, turn it up. Go back.
This is. I think it was yesterday or the day before. It was 20th anniversary of Stu passing.
It's
introduced this package by JR saying the toughest guy I ever met. If you think about Danny Hodge, he was just crushing apples with his bare hands. That's something.
I think I messaged I mentioned on another episode about Danny Hodge, and Lizzie goes, Danny fucking Hodge. Like, what?
Danny. But here's the thing, is this kind of uncomfortable given how Brett left the company 5.5 years earlier?
And they killed his son, Never mind his son. Never mind one of his sons leaving. They killed his son.
I was getting there. I didn't even know how to say it.
It's just said it.
It's just weird.
The motor or the flip phone. So or three.
The flip phone. Listen, there was nothing like. I mean, you guys aren't girls, so you don't get it. But there's nothing like when you're mad at somebody and you clip that. You don't even say anything. Just used to hang up. That was amazing. Look at that.
The antenna down. You got to get that.
He still has that phone. He's old enough to still have it.
I'm trying to look at these police officers. See, are there any potential wrestlers? I
was gonna say
they've come from a.
It's like a young.
Might be Jake Hager, the guy on the left. I'm just gonna say 03 Trish was. I'm gonna say all the way live. So was it WrestleMania 20? What was the storyline with Christian? Because I know one turned on the other. It was a bet gone wrong or something.
Tim will tell you.
Oh, would he?
I think this is coming up still. So you've got this now, the relationship the burgeoning relationship between Jericho and Trish. So we'll soon see where it goes.
Trish isn't right wing enough for him, surely.
Say again.
So Trish isn't right wing enough for him, surely.
There's a great line from Jericho just to start this promo. He calls himself the king of bling bling. He just delivers it in the same way as a little bit of the bubbly. He just shows kind of the Jerichoisms, the 20 years of them.
Mm-hmm.
Bling bling. So
cool. Oh wow, I've got to go back and clip this because Randy looks like he's just given her one of the best 3 minutes of his life.
Stop.
Who are these two? Tim, fill me in it. Who's this guy on the left? Is fucking
so Garrison K. This is what we were talking about earlier with Maven.
That's Lance K.
So the guy in the middle, he was Shawn Michaels' protege, right, from the Texas Wrestling Academy.
Yeah, Garrison Cade, later Lance Cade,
and he tagged in. Did he end up tagging with Trevor Murdoch?
And that's Mark Jindrak.
Okay,
That's
yes. Yes.
it was in the Primetime Players? No. Mark Jindrak was with Sean O'Hare in WCW in 2000.
Yes. Tag team. Yep.
Wow. Jeez, he's like built like a tank.
He is. He's a big man.
Well, obviously, he was the one who's going to replace or the initial Batista role in Evolution.
Right. Okay, that makes sense now. Because Jesus, he's
Exactly.
huge.
Yeah, they filmed like vignettes with him and stuff, right? And then they just dropped it for whatever reason.
Well,
That's because
right.
Will you stop? Go ahead. Go ahead.
If your wife's leaving him, be nice to him.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't know that. He's still been wearing his wedding ring on TV.
You know what, guys?
Has he been even on TV?
Just
Yeah, he was on TV for the season premiere of SmackDown. Season premiere for a show that never takes a break.
stay out of girls.
Did you not see the segment where they brought in Nick Aldis, as the general manager for SmackDown?
I did see the clip on socials and he got zero reaction. I felt, oh.
Yeah,
funny.
that was kind of
That's okay.
Shout out to Nick. He always tags his doesn't always. He's a big fan of No Context Len. He's always very often tagging Mickey James in some of our memes. So
want to see him wrestle.
which is
He
weird
will.
because Bruce Pritchard said about 2 years ago, right? He goes, just goes around with like he's like a fake world champion. He thinks he's like this. I'm like, whoa. I think Conrad must have asked why has he never been in the Fed? Like, just he's playing a role. He's playing like a world champion. He's not actually a proper world champion. Wow.
Bit mean.
Ouch.
I'm sure they've changed his mind. His mind now.
Yeah, it's a weird thing for a guy of him and his pedigree to come in as a general manager.
That's what I'm saying. We want to see him wrestle. He's still a young guy.
I think he will, right?
Yeah.
He's only about 38.
You know, again, I thought, like you, it was a bit unfair bringing him out, building him up, bringing him out live in front of the fans who, the vast majority, don't watch TNA or NWA. I wouldn't know who he was.
No.
I thought it was unfair, but he just carried himself. He looked like a manager, like a general manager, and you could see the way
British accent helps as well.
Listen, anytime you slap a British accent on anything, it's more distinguished, it's fancy, it's in demand. So he'll be just fine. I know it, but still, like I said,
It's giving William Regal.
I want to see him. Oh, William, my dog. He's supposed to be off his 1 year now, right? How long has it been?
Oh wow, Molly Holly. Wait, what's Molly Holly's role there? Is she not in the right to? I remember she was in the right to censor, right?
She was in the right censor. The right censor don't exist now, hence why we've seen Stevie Richards beating women up, not in a right to censor outfit. I'm assuming anyway. Although this outfit
she's
does
dressed
look
in the
kind of
same
right to
colours,
censor.
right? They all wear black pants and white shirts.
No, but this is way too low cut for the right to censor. She would be in like a button up.
A few things. Victoria looks unbelievable here. I don't remember her looking this great, but fair play to her. Why is she with Stevie Richards? Is Molly Holly a bit heel or a baby? Oh, there's a tag match. Okay. Lita needs her roots doing. Darling, please, on TV.
Stop it.
And nice to see Jack Dunn.
What is the matter with you?
The one person he's given a compliment to in the ring is Jack Doan. I guess you said Victoria looks unbelievable, but then you said, I don't remember her looking this good.
Exactly. Like you did the kiss and kick.
I think just say this is a compliment.
Good Lord. And you want
in
people to watch the
here,
program.
Victoria looks amazing.
come back.
Oh my god.
I love Victoria, and she's so nice. So I met her. She worked a show that I went to with Ariel, and it was at like a Jewish community center. It was really cute. It was like an all Jewish show that they did, and she was just so nice. She was super sweet. Like I spoke to her for like several minutes. She really took the time to like talk to everybody. Sweetest woman. Here's my commercial. She belongs in the Hall of Fame. Thank you and good night.
I agree. Also, sorry, Susan, we got to do. Lissy is actually in the business and she's well connected. So, she's got a bit of stroke.
Will you stop?
You do.
You need
Your
to
good friend Ariel is a commentator on AEW.
That's one of my best friends.
Your good friend Mello he's not the NXT champion anymore, is he? Yeah, he lost loser.
Why are you showcasing my friends on here? What is wrong with you?
To give you credibility.
So Tim, what's the backstory of this match? Because it's gone on for a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, I mean, what I do know of this, I'll be honest, it hasn't really engaged me too much. But Lita just come back. Obviously, she was out for a year with a broken neck and came back
Excuse me,
to a
Tim.
bit of a modest reception.
Around here.
And just obviously back teaming with Trish. But it's not the best storyline.
Wow. So why is Victoria with Stephen Richards, or Stevie Richards, or he's called?
We're a
I don't
thing.
know.
He's done with a YouTube channel now and
Mm.
fell foul of the AEW copyright police, Aubrey Edwards and Co, which he wasn't very happy about. Oh wow, that did not look pretty. You mentioned Victoria being the nicest person in wrestling. Everyone says that Molly Holly is the nicest ever. If you ask all these like young girls coming through saying, who was it who said Molly Holly paid for their
Phoenix?
Her first wrestling gear? Like said, like, oh, I wanted to do that. She just bought it.
She
Like,
paid
honey,
for
you go out there and smash it.
Like just so selfless. I mean, but this is also Molly Holly who like she left wrestling to go work with like mission style trips. I don't want to call it mission trips in case it wasn't affiliated with a church, but like in Central and South America, like she just seems like she really loves to like give back. So I think she's in that good human category.
We mentioned about the Jim Ross podcast. He can't speak any higher of Molly Holly, like the nicest one in the world. It's sad because he always says like she reminds me of I won't do the voice because it looks disrespectful.
Yes.
Always reminds me of my wife Jan.
Oh.
Like Jim will go back to it every episode. You think, man, he's still hurting so bad.
Bless him. It's a big loss.
Oh, jeez.
2. Wow, big win for Victoria.
It was a fruit fight.
And what was the match at WrestleMania? Do you remember? The big women's match at WrestleMania 20. It was a bra and panties.
Okay.
I can't stand you. He said the big match at WrestleMania. You thought it was going to be something serious, and he said bra and panties.
Molly.
Ooh.
It's supposed to be so nice. Yeah, a bit like AEW, right? They don't like women's wrestling. The women's match at WrestleMania 20 was just before the main event as well. Stacey and Tori against Trish and Lita.
It's crazy, really. Like you see the talent that they've got in that ring. Like people look back on the likes of Trish and Lita, obviously very fondly, but also Molly Holly, Victoria, highly thought of, but they just had zero care for women's wrestling at this point.
And more. I mean, around this time, I think it was the following year. Tim, correct me if I'm wrong. They fumbled Gail Kim. Like they had a chance to start building the divas or women's division from back then. I think
for sure.
Holy shit! Has Christian's wardrobe improved in 20 years?
Yeah,
are they brown leather trousers?
Fucking hell! He looks like he's trying to like masquerade himself as a tree.
This was in style at the time, if you recall, or if you don't want to recall, that's fine too. Because 2000s fashion was scary.
2003. I was just about to turn 2003. I was just about to turn 16, 50. God, I can't do the math. I'm too old. Yeah, I'm about to turn 16 in 6 weeks.
You didn't have a jumper like that?
No, I was a big fat kid, so I generally wear everything in black. So
Oh, okay. This was before.
This was JJM the trauma years. Yeah, it's okay.
We've all been there.
You haven't.
I'm still fat.
Oh, you got a hot wife. You're fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine.
Yeah.
We all have a different trauma. Some of us were ugly.
So I don't understand here. So the bounty was to take out Goldberg,
Yeah.
and Mark Henry's done that. So why has he not won the bounty?
Not really clear.
Right.
Not
So
sure.
this is the
I'm not
point.
sure the parameters around how you claim the bounty.
So this is the point where Lissy would have a go at me for trying to explain something with rational logic. And Lissy,
Which
what
in
do you normally
WWE
say?
you can't really do.
You should not. Oh, it's Maeve.
Oh my God, it's Maven. He's getting a decent reaction, to be fair, yeah. The
In
baby
good
oil's
shape.
working wonders.
I mean, he looks great.
But what you said earlier, Tim, you look at him, what's his character?
This is the thing, right?
What's his motivation? Who
They
is he?
thought that they could just get by on being like, he's the guy that won Tough Enough. He can just come out in generic gear, don't need to say anything else. He won Tough Enough. That's his story, but it wasn't enough.
Well, I
Because there
thought
never really was anything more for him.
this was a weird time for Nate. Oh,
Yeah, this isn't the greatest storyline.
but Flair's, yeah. It's the short hair doesn't work for the niche.
No.
Is this
Oh.
a Flair? Is this a Flair Maven match?
Mm-hmm.
Ponytail worked for him.
Do we even try and track it? Is there
Oh,
any
God.
point?
Don't try.
Do your best, buddy. Do your best. It's okay.
No, I'll leave it. I'll leave it. It's fine.
Yeah, they set it up last week to mention Ric Flair gave the line, I've had more world champions than you've had women, so let's meet in the ring next week and I'll kick your ass.
I mean, Tim said the line. I mean, I think it was me, but okay.
I would never dream of saying anything like that.
Wow, I mean, I used to get this treatment at home, get it on the podcast as well. Sit down, open the ropes for me. Do you know who you think you're dealing with? Thinking, come on, 60, thank you. Bit of RSPCT around here.
How dare you not open the ropes for him?
Listen, I had a call for the first time with where I'm at, the new CEO, and I
Yeah.
mentioned something about Roy Walker, who you all have no idea who he is, right?
Girl.
I know who he is.
Yeah, but you're not listening. Say what you see. If you see saying it, and he said to me, like, he said, "Great Phoenix Nights line that, great episode." Does he know? Do I tell him I run the fan accounts? And I just felt like, yeah, and Jim Boyne, they got some good stars on there. Oh, Jim Boyne, another one. I might be okay here. I might be all right.
Happening.
Yeah, Roy Walker. I didn't think you were Irish. I thought you just pissed about like that, Jerry Adams.
So
What a line.
So Maven didn't start this match the way that Nate wanted. He's getting aggressive, guys. He didn't let him take off his little robe.
The weird thing is, Flair is wearing different coloured
very weird.
The pants. That never happened.
Oh, yeah.
The purple with the black trunks, he was always coordinated. They must have lost his bag or something. There's no other explanation.
You say that, but then the pants have got the black with RF embroidered.
I know, but I'm saying like maybe they weren't in the same bag. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is not like him.
Very weird. But I mean, it's weird. If I go around to this time, I just thought Flair, who's this granddaddy, was just chopping and wooing. I thought he's not that great. Why is everyone making out that he's the best? And then lockdown hit. I've got so much time on my hands. Go back and watch all the stuff in the 80s. And go, oh my God, this is the greatest showman that's ever lived.
I don't think that he was bad here.
I mean, when you consider his age, it's actually unreal, like some of the stuff he was able to do.
But as a 15, 16-year-old guy, I've got no interest in watching a 55-year-old man wrestle in the ring against them.
Yeah, I think I came with just a different perspective because I grew up watching him in WCW, so we were well acquainted with Ric Flair. So it was kind of nice that he came over to WWE because, like we said, it was super boring that they didn't get all the big stars from WCW in the Invasion, right? So this is kind of that beginning.
Tim, did you ever watch any Nitro? Like, I think it was Cartoon Network flipped over to TNT, 9 o'clock's Friday. Sky Sports 3, Monday Night Raw. Get
No,
the
I
10-minute,
that's
get the
Sky.
10-minute
So
television X previews straight after.
all I got was the terrible WCW '99, and even though even though I think I don't know if Heat was on Channel 4 then,
5 o'clock
that's
Sunday
what I had,
afternoons.
and I
Yeah, I
just
loved it.
went off wrestling because WCW was so bad.
It really was.
But you're gonna get so much material out in two. I did it at the minute. I think it was last week, the '99 stuff. Oh boy, it's so bad. I think Tony Schiavone calls it a coffin on roller skates. Yeah, this week it was Jarrett debuting after he lost to China, didn't he, in the Good Housekeeping match. Then he just turns up, pushes La Parker aside, guitar shot on someone, and the old era of slapnuts has begun. And this is the part where they were having. I always compare it to when I was a kid. I used to love Inspector Gadget, and they'd have that person at a desk. You'd never see their face. They're always stroking a cat. And Vince Russo was the guy at a desk. You see the camera behind him. You never see his face. He was called the Higher Power, right?
Yeah.
And looking back, you think that's just so bad.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of cringe-worthy moments, but on the better side of things, so you mentioned Jeff Jarrett, Jack. You look at someone like Chris Jericho and you're like, oh, hang it up. And Jeff Jarrett is even older than Chris Jericho, but you love him. What's the difference? What's the contrast? Where is one still succeeding and the other one isn't?
Jeff positions in place to kind of have the piss taken out of him, right? Every title match they've been in, whether it's been him and Lethal or wrestling, did they wrestle the Elite, the Planet Jarrett against Kenny and the Bucks, and they just made themselves look stupid, right? They did I think it was Satnam and Lethal, and Jarrett did the pose, and then they got beat up within 2 minutes and lost. They're made to look stupid. Jericho has to be there. I get the impression Jericho is positioned where he has to be the smartest guy in the room, or he has to be near the top of the card. Jarrett's just messing around in gimmick matches, and carning in the nicest possible way,
and donating it to charity.
Well, yeah, he on his podcast, he said people banded around the figure of like 100,000, like in sponsorship for that, whatever it's called, that Halloween match. He goes, nowhere near. The figure's way off.
Oh, really?
The Jarrett podcast is really good. He's so, and I used to hate him. Like if you go back 20 odd years ago. So annoying. I hated when he came to WCW. I thought he's not a world champion. He's not a world championship caliber. And you hear him talk about the business now and TNA and Memphis from the 80s and stuff. It's fascinating. I think he's a brilliant talker.
What's going on here with the police?
There's 10 coppers waddling down.
Running
I'll stop Kane.
Right, Tim. I'm gonna get a bit. Tell us what's happened with Kane and Shane McMahon the last month.
Oh, this is McMahon has to have a storyline. So this is Kane, who's just come back from somehow surviving being driven in a car at breakneck speed into a lorry. Somehow he survived, and now he's after Shane. So this storyline is going on, and just as we got on SmackDown, we've got Stephanie and Vince. We've got Shane here doing everything, being one of the main roles. Probably one of the reasons why 2003 was quite hard to watch.
So with Shane and Kane, am I right thinking one had been put in like a dumpster, one had been set on fire, another week he was tied to a lamppost and his balls electrocuted.
Well, Jack loves Shane.
Do you know, in 99, 2000, I was the biggest Shane McMahon fan. I actually went onto eBay and bought the Shane O'Mac baseball, and that was my move on a night out, to do the Shane O'Mac.
Wow, that's a little bit cringe. I'm not gonna lie.
And yeah, I was a fat kid. I didn't like dance. I'd have to get really drunk.
Oh my God.
And then
Oh,
when he became a
I
bit of
was thrilled to see the footage.
which way did he go? Which way did he go? And then, oh my God, the makeup is horrendous here. You would not get a job on Emmerdale, love. And then you look
such a
later,
waste
like
of
when
time.
Shane now, like he comes back as a 50-year-old sweaty mess, trying to be positioned as like the top guy or the like some MMA makeshift threat. It's like what? Like he booked himself, didn't he, in the Rumble? Was it last year?
Not last year, no. Was it last year? Was it that recent?
Oh Lord, was it? We're getting
Jesus.
old.
Oh,
Okay.
one maybe or two, but 21. There's one
Anyway.
where
Last
Brock
year.
came in at 1 and beat everyone. That's when he was like Keith Lee. Who's this big motherfucker?
Hmm.
But I think that might have been 20. When did Edge come back? 20?
Mate, all the last like
Edge
3-4
still got a
years have
huge
kind of
pop,
blurred
didn't it?
into a lot.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was
of course.
2020.
Because him and Randy had the greatest match of all time in the pandemic era stuff. So either 21 or 22, you had Brock's Rumble where he started at number 1, or Shane coming in as the anchor guy.
Yeah, wasn't happening.
And then I don't know what happened this year. I was completely tuned out of the Fed.
Yeah, well, I mean, he tried to come back at WrestleMania and do some stuff, but immediately failed, and that
Did a
might be
Kevin
the
Nash
last
and then-
that might be the last we ever see of him.
Got it.
He
Yeah.
might have
Looking at
finally
Kane
decided
here,
his body's done enough.
just looking at Kane, so you have this amazing, setting JR alight, then unmasked, and it felt huge, huge moment. But he gets dragged into this never-ending Shane feud instead of going for the title. It just feels like a real waste.
Tim, you'll know this more than us. Why were they feuding?
Because he tombstoned Linda McMahon.
That's what?
Kane
Linda McMahon.
tombstone Linda, yeah.
Oh, he tombstoned her. Why did he tombstone her?
Defending his mother's honor.
She tried to stop him from attacking others.
Right.
And of course, famously, that video footage was shown in her Senate race
Right.
in 2010, shown by her opponent, of her being tombstoned on the stage.
And we've just had the elections in Jib this past week, and
No one cares about that.
no, I'm saying
it'll be
it was an
fixed,
eye opener to. I knew people are kind of involved in the elections, right? And you realize people go play really dirty in politics.
Oh yeah.
Politics, baby.
The weird thing about this Kane thing is that when, like, I remember growing up and being like, 9, 10, 11 and being like, oh my God, if we ever see this guy's like face, it's going to be like the biggest reveal ever. And it just feels like they completely botched it, really, doesn't it? Because then unmasked Kane never hit the heights that masked Kane did.
He was huge when they unmasked him, and he went on this wave of destruction. You honestly, just watching it back the last couple of months, you felt like it could have been a massive moment. Push him, get the title off Triple H or be a contender for Goldberg, but just lost.
Bischoff.
Whopped him.
Oh, of course.
At least it wasn't a sledgehammer.
Why is he the villain in every story? Like, I want to cheer for him. I want to, but it's so hard. Okay, so Triple H has the how much was it? 100,000?
Yeah, the bounty that he set, he now has.
Tell you what, Flair and Randy have had so much airtime in this episode. Jesus.
So much. Oh, Daddy's home.
There's got to be some meme potential from this, surely. I'd love to know what Hunter was using for his conditioner around this time, because the hair looks glorious.
Oh, his hair was beautiful. Oh, I miss this hair. Why did he?
It's so bad. Needed it cut a long time ago.
I love his hair. I understand that he is a corporate man now, so he needed a little bit more serious haircut, but his hair was gorgeous.
So what are they saying? I've got it on mute. What are they saying?
So Randy Orton was looking after the bounty, then
Right.
Jindrak and Cade jumped him, stole the money, even though they didn't take out Goldberg, and Hunter had to get it back, basically. So the bounty is still up for grabs, apparently, even though we saw Mark Henry take him out earlier.
Right.
Minor details. It's not for people like him.
So this should be a good match. Well, HBK versus Goldberg.
For the World Heavyweight title.
Mm.
But you've got to remember that this is Monday Night Raw. So when they've got a huge match as the main event on Monday Night Raw and there's 12 minutes left and they need about 5 minutes of the storyline to build to the next episode, it's not going to be a classic.
You're talking about Triple H. What do you make of Sean's hair at this time period?
Me?
Yes, listen, you're the resident style expert.
So the length was not my favorite.
Right.
Maybe it was just it's kind of like a bob, like it was just a little bit too short.
Jim Ross called it the little Dutch boy haircut.
Yes.
It's grown out a little bit since then.
It's still the same. He's kind of done that with it, and
and it's the fact that he's having it combed backward. I mean, I don't know. I don't think he was starting to bald yet at this time.
He's like 13.
Goldberg is still.
When you're in your 30s, you start to bald, darling. Trust me. Ask Bill here.
Accurate. I think it's when you're in your 30s and you've got kids. That's the killer.
Oh gosh.
Plural. I don't. Just one. I think on Goldberg's third week as well, he tried to kick the fireworks and fell over, and everyone started laughing at him and well, we tried. But you gotta remember as well, they were trying to make Goldberg out to be a monster. They literally parodied him in the same company with Gilbert just 4 or 5 years earlier. So,
Just thinking about it as well, I was thinking, it's a main event match, but Goldberg doesn't really have matches longer than 10 minutes anyway, does he? So there's probably enough time for a Goldberg classic.
Not really. I think Regal tried to wrestle him for 7 minutes and almost got fired for it. And then he's very black relaxing. I was told, go out there and wrestle with this lad and put a few holds on him, and he couldn't do fuck all. So I'm trying my best to wrestle with this fella, bit handy, and couldn't do anything. I try my best out there. That's a good reason. I'm impressed myself, my Regal impression. If you his podcast is really good because he just going for random time. This fella, he's a bit handy, and I can, in my day, I'd knock shit out of some lad if I had to. It's just wait, what? That's how he brought it up. Marty Jones, ask him. We've not heard any people.
Problem that we've got with this podcast is that so far you've put over the Jarrett podcast, the William Regal podcast, Pritchard, Jim Ross. People are not going to have enough time to listen to
Bruce.
Our
Is it Bruce? No, Bruce. Ever since Bruce signed up to the Fed again, that's been shot. JR and Jarrett's is good. Since Tony got a Tony, what happened when we used to be brilliant a few years ago. Tony Reed's rap was brilliant, and then he got more serious at AEW, and now it's boring.
I've just listened to his the new one, and he's it's 40 years on Monday of his first time in wrestling.
Of course, yes, Starcade '83.
It was a good listen because it's something different, but Yeah, I mean, Tony's blocked me on Twitter, I think.
No, what have you
I
done?
don't know. Don't know.
Damn.
Him?
Yeah, no, it's a good listen. It's a decent listen. This week's Shivani one. I've just
No,
got
bury
space
him. He's
back now.
blocked you.
Damn. I can't believe this. Now I really know why Jack brought you here. You guys are the same person. Oh my god.
He's blocked me on Instagram as well. And all I think it did was I must have tagged maybe one of the first interviews with him interviewing Nate, like 86. Tagged him in it and they blocked whoever. I mean, Tony doesn't run his socials, right? His daughter does it.
Well, he does. He looks a lot, but
on Twitter, not on
daughter,
Instagram.
Yeah, his daughter runs them, but he definitely is visible. A lot of them are. They just don't, necessarily post. And that's why we're going back to. We were talking about. Was it off air? We were talking about Twitter, and I think this was great about Twitter. Like wrestling Twitter is still good. It's still lively. There's a lot, obviously. I'm not a massive fan of the AEW, WWE.
It's so the word I use for it is tribalism.
Yeah,
and it's just I can't be asked. Like,
but I do think it's still fantastic, and I do enjoy being on there and posting on there.
Have you not
I saw
moved
a bit of
to?
it this week. I saw I posted the clip. It was of Tegan Knox unfortunately seriously damaging, injuring her knee, and during the Mae Young Classic, and Aubrey Edwards was the ref, and
Oh, wow.
no fault of Aubrey's at all. Tegan Knox injured herself and tried to carry on, shouldn't have, but the people are blaming Aubrey Edwards for it. It's just ridiculous. It's just don't need that level of nastiness against people.
Aubrey tends to get quite a hard time from a certain subset of fans on Twitter, on social media.
A lot of Cornet fans. Like she's used as a character in his podcast, so they come hard on her. Wrong turn of phrase that. They go after her and give her a boost.
Another reason why I'm not really much of a fan of Jim Cornette.
He's a big fan of Tim.
I do love. I mean, okay, talk about promos. No one better. Like just brilliant stuff from 35 years ago. Brilliant.
Yeah, this is me separating the man from the art. Like I agree. Like his promos and stuff in the 80s are another level. Like no one was doing what he was doing back then, in my view. But as a manager, I know that's in an era when there were a load of amazing managers. But as a human being, the way that he goes about getting making his money these days just seems to be by tearing down as many people as he can. I'm not really a fan of.
I listen. I try and listen to a range of views on things. I do enjoy when I do get a chance to listen to his podcast. Some of them are a bit long for me. I haven't got 6 hours or 12 hours in a week to listen to 2 podcasts alone. Oh, what a slam! But I do enjoy. He does make it entertaining. You talked about other podcasts that just lost their edge slightly. He does make it interesting. He knows generally how to get you listening or tapping on the YouTube link.
He knows his audience and he's entertaining with it.
Oh, that's a spear and a half.
He's a businessman.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, Hebner took that one hard.
He always does.
Oh.
So if anyone's out there watching, JJ, give us a time check.
We are 1 hour 30 and 23, 24, 25, 26. Little Nate's has just come in the ring to try and
save the day,
resuscitate his buddy. He's just going to leave. Just going to leave El Hebner there and do his refereeing duty.
Yeah.
El Hebner's looking like he's had his third plate of Christmas dinner after. It's like, Jesus, man.
It's amazing. Charles Robinson, I saw a post from him the other day. Still, after all these years, loading up the trucks and, putting the ring together and still being the ref that he is. It's just astonishing. Oh, he's back.
He messaged my Wrestling 80s 90s page and He was asking for a date. Do you know there's a clip of like Jeff Jarrett absolutely beheading him with a guitar. I said, I
Oh,
think it's this, and then sent it him. Oh, cheers, like.
that's good. So Batista's back.
Has Batista been out?
Yeah. Oh, so it's extraordinary. When you look back and you think about Batista's career, he had so unlucky with injuries in his first year of his career. He's been out with, I think, a shoulder injury or something. So coming back here in a massive way, just shows the faith they have in him.
Mm. Was one of the good things that came out of this time frame for me was Evolution making two huge stars that would be there for a good few years in Orton and Batista.
See, Triple H isn't that
Huge,
bad.
isn't he, Batista? Look at him.
And he came a long way from Deacon. Like not too long before this.
Yeah.
His veins are just absolutely popping out of his body.
He's jacked.
I think he's now even more covered in tattoos, right? I mean, I don't watch films, so I couldn't tell you what he looks like.
Now he's fully covered, like his chest.
The Rich posted a video last week, which was the Evolution reunion, and Batista looks like he's having literally the time of his life out there, especially when he like points to Nitch and so the nights that we had, and then starts flopping the microphone. And he sets it perfectly. I've done everything apart from be you, Hunter. And the crowd has oh, come on, let's hug it out. And even like Randy kind of feigns, because I think Randy's a heel at the time, right? And he still feigns to like before they goes to do like a big group hug, like to go Naki or someone.
Because he can. I don't know.
I feel like Batista is one of those few that we will never see back. I think he's just enjoying his life as an actor and whatever. And like he was already fairly old when he hit his peak. I think he's just like, I'm good, did what I wanted to do, had a fun time. Now I'm enjoying what I'm doing now.
Well, he's a big mega star now. I mean, he's making hundreds of millions of dollars in Hollywood. Like he doesn't need to be taking bumps. I mean,
but so is Cena and so is The Rock, but they've still come back for stuff, right?
But Batista came back and had that one last match, right? One last feud, WrestleMania in 2019, and loses to Triple H. That's him done. You do the honor. He doesn't do the honors, right? Well, Dave, I think if you're going to put anyone over, it should be the guy who's got the most to gain. So that's me.
A good finish to the show. Evolution reunited. Goldberg injured.
And it makes Batista look like a monster.
And so Batista gets the bounty.
Not the mount, not to be confused with the Mountie. The bounty.
Right.
Worst things in the celebrations tin.
He didn't finish the job though.
That's what she said. Lizzie, what do you make of Raw from October 20th, 2003?
Never again, please. Thank you.
Never again. Should we watch? Should we go back and watch some CCW?
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, well, I think we can do.
Oh, that would be fun.
Unless they'll sue us, then yeah, we're okay.
No, I mean, I think that like we talked about this throughout there's like a fruit fly in here and it's been driving me crazy this entire time. This is such a weird in-between time. We're in between Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era. They're keeping the lights on, guys. Some people are really successful in this time, i.e. Triple H and Evolution, and we're kind of building that next generation of stars, right? You have Randy Orton, Batista, you have John Cena on SmackDown. Like you have the people that are going to carry you into the next 10, 15 plus years. Well, yeah.
All came through OVW with Jim Cornette. Carry on.
What is the matter with you? But yeah, it's a tough watch because like I noticed that there's just a somewhat of lack of continuity in some of it. And sometimes you're just kind of like we found ourselves throughout the episode, like, why are they doing this? So it's a tough time in wrestling, but they pushed on. They made it, guys. They made it.
John, I'm guessing you wouldn't be interested in Carry On in 03 or?
I'll watch anything. I don't mind. You always get something good out of it, right? And the thing is, like, the problem when you were watching in this period for me was like, it was like a tough watch week to week. But when you just like take an hour and a half out of your day and you just watch a random episode of Raw, even when it's bad, you still get some enjoyment out of it because it's not like you necessarily invest in the storylines or whatever. It's just like you just enjoy it for what it is for that hour and a half that you're watching it, you know. So, but yeah, week to week, it was a transitional period for them, wasn't it? So
I suppose that's the difference, right? It's not one of those where I have to see next week what's going to happen. You can argue that the end there with Batista cashing in, but Batista back, he gets the bounty. Evolution is stronger than ever. The deck's stacked against Goldberg. As a babyface, he should overcome the odds, but he loses the belt to Triple H at the next pay-per-view. So, Bill, we've got to do what Tim.
Obsessed.
I just think Melissa's reaction because it's like an eye roll and then a.
But like,
I know you want to go to the Fed. He'll sign you one day. It's all right.
I speak freely and like I don't care about going to the Fed. You know,
Me and JJ give each other a look there. Speak freely.
I speak freely.
No, it's a Gibraltar Facebook group where everyone rants.
Oh.
Yeah, but yeah. But yeah, I'll be less mean on Triple H next week. I promise.
No, you won't.
False.
No, I won't.
Okay, just promise. If you just lay off Shawn Michaels like one episode.
I was nice to Shawn.
Were you?
I was nicer.
Okay.
Tim, where does all three rank when you're currently in the last 2-3 years? You've gone through pretty much every year in some.
Yeah,
fashion.
it is not the best. However, I'll be honest, there were some green shoots of recovery, should we say, in Raw. Looking at Batista's back, you got Jericho driving that Steve Austin story. Orton, there's some good bits there. Some hope more so than there's been in recent months. Of course, there are some minor characters so I could do without, but that's what you need in the show. You need big storylines and then people just to keep it going. It's getting better. It's been a long time since I've watched a whole episode of Raw from any time in the 2000s. So thank you for that honor. Help me do my research for tomorrow's clips, which is always good. But no, I enjoyed it. I think, I am hopeful, but there are, as we said, some dark days ahead. But you got to, take it for what it is at the moment.
How different is this to? I think on this day, 25 years ago, right? We've just seen Stone Cold. He's cost Undertaker and Kane at the pay-per-view. He's come back as a bounty hunter himself, which is kind of a different story to the ongoing thread there. He holds Vince McMahon hostage, pisses himself in the ring, signs a new contract. I can't remember seeing the show apart from like the Rock's theme tune, which I have I have no memory of that, by the way. How different are the two shows 5 years apart?
It's what's fascinating about doing this, and I do it because I'm sad and I love just finding clips like the Rock's one-off theme tune that was terrible.
Never heard listen. Well, I'll send it in our group chat. I have never heard that before. The Rock had a new theme tune for 1 week, and it was that bad. They dropped it and went back to the old stuff.
I believe it. I think I heard about this. I don't think I've ever heard the song though, but send it to me.
Yeah.
But even the Attitude Era, the famed Attitude Era, celebrated Attitude Era, there are some really, really rough bits. The Undertaker Kane feud is horrendous.
In 98, really?
Yeah, it is really bad. It's interesting today. I was going to post something later, just reading through Stone Cold's autobiography, and there's a quote from JR who nails it. It's, Stone Cold on his own would have been okay and good, but having that foil of Vince McMahon, Mr. McMahon, that character who can really kind of be the antithesis of Stone Cold, to be the real villain, that's what lifted Stone Cold. And there's so much bad wrestling in 98. It's, even in that episode of Raw, there's some really ropey stuff. And we just forget it. We forget about that. We focus on the big characters, the big moments. And it's like 2003 today. You had Orton, and you got Batista, and you kind of overlook the Garrison Cades, the Mark Jindrak storylines, because that's what you forget that. You remember the memorable moments.
And Storm dancing, yeah.
Lots of dancing. But this is our
Mm.
memory. We remember things that we care about and react to, not just the boring stuff. So it is, it's a different time. Is it as hot as 98? No. But it is, every period has good bits and bad bits, is what I'd say.
Yeah, and the thing is, like,
forgiving too. So, like you said, like they don't hold the bad bits against you. So, for the most part, we move on. We'll kind of like ride it out for a little bit, but then we're like, okay, let's keep going. So, I see what you're saying. We have to know that that's every show, that's every product. Like you can like a show and you're like, you know what, this season sucked, but the previous 10 seasons were good, so I'm still gonna watch next season, right? We're committed, guys. We're hanging in there till the end.
And this is a thing that WWE do so well, is that it doesn't really matter how ropey like the build up to the big pay-per-view matches. When you watch that video package before the match, they just put it all together so well, and that's what ends up mattering at the end of the day. You don't remember the 10 hours of Raw and the whatever 10 hours of SmackDown that build up to it. You just remember that video package and that build up, and that's it. And that's what WWE do so well, is highlight some of the good things and build those memories for you.
Yeah, look at this week on Raw. What do we remember? Ricochet doing crazy Superman things, Superman jumps. You got Gunther with an amazing match against Bronson Reed. The rest of it, we can't remember. But WWE focus on the great bits and just hammer it on social. So you just remember those bits and you share those bits and you forget the bad bits. But it's incredibly hard. Every company, as you said, writing week in, week out, a 2-3 hour show.
Yeah.
It's just incredibly hard. And there's going to be bad bits naturally. But it's pointing out where's the massively offensive stuff as opposed to just bad writing or bad storylines.
Well, and I think if I could just maybe go to the other brand for a second, right? Writing is something that I think any show or any program or any series or whatever can struggle with. I think that's a big part of what's going on with AEW. Do you think that they should have waited until the writing got a little bit better, till the quality of the content got better before they added a second show, third show, like Collision? Because now it's like you have to write for all of these, different time slots on TV, and it's hard. And it's hard to keep people, because you can't please everybody all the time. So you have to at least make something that's, the majority of your fans are going to like, but are they even listening to their fans?
I think with Collision, right, their hand was forced a little bit by the timing with CM Punk. Like that seemed to be the whole reason why it was CM Punk, and it came at a time when the TV network were happy to take on that extra 2 hours on Saturday night.
One bill, Phil.
And now they've got themselves almost stuck in a situation where they don't have Punk anymore. And I think Tony Khan's finding himself a little bit stretched, having to just do too much, But
it's hard. I mean, I don't know how they're set up writing wise, but you're looking at this time, 2003. You've got Raw and SmackDown. Raw being written by Brian Gewirtz, SmackDown by Dave.
Paul Heyman.
I think by then. I think he'd been kicked out to OVW. Dave Lagana for SmackDown. Two distinct teams, two distinct approaches. And that worked. I don't know how they're doing it at the moment, AEW, but look, as a consumer, we've never had so much content, and it's really hard as viewers to watch. But to keep, to do stories for all that amount of TV, it's really hard. Really hard.
To give some context, that Brian Gewirtz is The Rock's right-hand man, right? He writes all The Rock's material, whether it be in films or promos, whatever. And he released a book last year. I think Tim will always quote him and stuff, and he'll always tweet and add a bit more context saying, yeah, we worked on this bit for 2 hours. Or have you ever exchanged DMs with him, or has he ever told you Don't write that.
I
but he
mean,
hates
Brian,
it.
look, is, as you said, it's just astonishing, his abilities. He came in 99, and then he was on Raw until 2012, 2013, before things went on and he kind of distanced himself a bit from weekly shows. I don't always tag him in everything, because some things I'm sure he'd like to keep forgetting. But there are some brilliantly written sections, and I do like, mention him when I think is something he may have a memory on, or something to share. But again, look, if you've been writing for 20 years, you're going to have some really ropey stuff. Week in, week out, you're going to have some really great stuff, like the Rock stuff, and some weaker sides of things. So, just kind of like, I never kind of shit tag people in that sense. Even now, if there's something critical of something, I won't, tag them in. I don't need to know that.
I've never
I'll
heard
see
that phrase before. Shit tag.
Well, just
I
there's enough
like it.
nastiness online. And I think, they don't need to see that being tagged in to say that this was bad. But, I think it's some fantastic stuff that he does. And he's incredibly talented guy. I mean, his book is brilliant. I want him to do another one. There's so much that wasn't in there. I keep on looking back to see if he talked about a certain storyline or whatever. There isn't enough in that book.
What's the book called?
Fascinating. There's just one problem.
Okay. Available at all good bookstores and those online.
It is one book you should get, is that, and it's what's brilliant about it is a lot of wrestling books we know as fans, you read and go, God, this is bollocks or exaggeration or boasting. He's pretty honest where he fucks up and where things go well, or he's in difficult situations, and I think that makes it a better book for it.
Good man. There you go. Brian Gewertz couldn't be no better man to put you over. Lissy, final thoughts before we wrap up here? 03, weird time. You're only 9 years old, right?
Tim, thank you for coming. That's my final thought. I know that.
Oh, thank you. It was a pleasure.
Sir, I knew it. You guys hate Shawn Michaels. You hate Triple H. You can come back anytime.
It's just, I'm just so happy to see JJ smiling in that shirt, because last time I saw him in that shirt, oh brother, that was a dark time. So
it's the Orange Cassidy shirt that I picked up at AEW All In.
So to give some context, we went to All In. Our flight was cancelled the next day because John missed his flight in the morning. So he was in the bad books at home, and then he couldn't get another flight home for 2 days. So
wow.
And we were stranded in Gatwick Airport. Luckily, from my traveling days at my former job, unless I use some points to get a room around the corner in like a Premier Inn, I've always got like a Holiday Inn Express. Otherwise, we were off to Dorking for the night with some random we found in the airport.
Bad times.
Bad times. But again, a bit like Brian Gerwitz, we can look back and laugh now. Tim, thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for inviting me. I had a lovely time reminiscing about some of the forgotten memories of Raw 2003.
You can follow Tim at WWE_OTD.
You mangled it. At OTD _ in on even.
I am right. It's at WWE on this day, yeah. He's got shitloads of followers on TikTok, less so on Instagram. I need to tag you more, and lots on Twitter. Everyone loves him.
You've got a strong Instagram game.
Yeah, I'm trying, darling. It's been a few years now. He's been John Jacobs, she's been Leslie Miller, and he's been Tim Gatt, and we've been Millie Wrestling, and we will see you soon. Ta-ra! There you go.